What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. So I hope everyone out there had a dope weekend in honoring hip hop turning 50 years old. Now, you may have attended a lit concert or performance in your respective cities, or maybe you just enjoyed watching the live footage from Yankee Stadium from the comforts of your own home. I know I did the latter, and when Nas brought out G Rap, that was definitely my favorite part. Yeah, it was an electrifying event at Yankee Stadium, no doubt. But hip hop, it turned a half a century on Friday, August 11th. Now look, I know there's some folks out there who feel that hip hop actually started earlier, and all that is cool. And I'm not straight up denying that there couldn't be some validity to that. However, it's widely accepted that 1973 is the starting point, and I do feel it's a little counterproductive to argue over dates in this context because it kind of takes away the fun and it takes away, in my opinion, from the real purpose of this celebration, which is to honor the pioneers and the iconic legends who made such an amazing culture possible. A culture that was created by black people specifically. Now, of course, there were Puerto Ricans there from the beginning, and they made their contributions, no doubt. But I have to be clear that, the black youth created it first. And even Johnny Leguizamo verified that publicly. Let's also be clear that hip hop is a culture that gave many people hope. It's a culture that gave many people jobs, and it's a culture that saved a lot of lives. But often when I think about hip hop, I immediately think of those young kids in the Bronx using their creative gifts and originality to overcome these obstacles and to make something out of nothing. And that's really the essence and the pure energy of hip hop right there. But I also think of a quote from the blast master KRS-One, the teacher, that always stood out to me since the 90s. And KRS-One said, "Rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live." Let me rewind that back one time. Rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. So KRS, he was stating that it's more than rap. Like, it's actually more than the music. Hip hop is a culture. It's a way of life. I remember the first time hearing that quote and how it inspired me to want to learn more about the different elements. Now, obviously, for a long time, the rapper or the MC has been the main focus in hip hop. It's what pulls most people in right away. I know it did for me, but there's actually three other elements: the graffiti artist, the DJ, or the b-boy, the breaker / breakdancer. Those are the four elements that make up hip hop. And of course, look, this is common knowledge for most hip hop heads, and I'm not here to try to school people who already know this. I'm just bringing it up because it's not really talked about all that much. I think the main reason is because these elements just aren't practiced frequently nowadays as they once were in the 70s and the 80s and into the early 90s. With the exception of the DJ, that is, because the DJ still gets a lot of love. And the DJ, though, almost has sort of morphed into the role of the producer. For years now, we have these conversations about the rappers, the best producers, who are your favorite MCs and who are your favorite producers. Those are typically the convo. And what's wild is other countries, they tend to practice the other elements like graffiti and breaking way more than we do in America. So then you have to ask, what's the main reason? And it's really because there isn't the money to be made in graffiti and b-boying. Ever since the 90s and 2000s, when hip hop became very commercialized, a lot of those elements, they just fell by the wayside, unfortunately. Now look, I'm not here to say that there aren't other elements in hip hop. I'm just saying that those are the four commonly regarded elements in hip hop. One could definitely add elements like fashion, slang, and social consciousness too. I mean, you could probably even throw in the entrepreneurial element as well. For me, and I'm sure that there's some other hip hop junkies out there who will agree. But hip hop is the lens that I use to see the world. That could sound obsessive, but the way I choose to dress, the way that I will color coordinate my fits, my love for sneakers, the slang that I will use, that's all coming from a hip hop perspective, a hip hop mindset. And that makes me think of a scene from a 1990s documentary that was very dope called Rhyme or Reason. And it always left a big impression on me, especially this scene where the Far Side were being interviewed and asked basically what it meant to be hip hop. And I might be butchering this, but from what I remember, they said, for instance, like if you take a piece of paper and you hand it to someone, you got two ways of doing it. You can either say, "Oh, here's your paper, sir," or, you can hand it to them in a hip hop way. And to me, that was always like a mind blowing reference point that I still try to live by to this day. Because at the age 42, I can still gain inspiration from seeing certain hairstyles, seeing certain types of outfits, hearing certain flows, hearing different production that grabs my ear, and even seeing murals and graffiti in cities that I will travel to. It's all hip hop. From the days of Run DMC down to Young Dolph and Key Glock, it's all connected. It's all hip hop. But getting back to the footage from Yankee Stadium on Friday night, it really showed us how timeless of an art form hip hop actually is, and there are no age limitations for being dope. It showed us that you can be 40, 50, 60 years old and still grip the microphone, you can still rock the crowd, and you can still be that fly, inspirational individual. But yeah, in the comment section, let me know what trends you would like to see more of in hip hop moving forward. Thankfully, it has been in or accepted ever since probably 2018, for lyricism to be back, or a more traditional style of rapping and production. And I hope that continues. I'd also like to see the older pioneers continue to make music. Heck, maybe we could even bring back some mixtapes. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. As always, it's peace and blessings. I'm out.